playing jazz in the background, and I thought you were playing it. Can you hear that?
Bit of jazzercise. No, can't hear your jazz.
Have you met Miss Jones is what it's called.
You got
Alexa, turn on office light.
Ta-da! You got some hectic white noise today?
Air conditioner on so I didn't melt.
Leave it on. I don't mind.
Oh no, brown cow.
Oh no, brown cow.
Mop.
How does this work again?
We talk. Some people listen somehow.
By 3 o'clock this afternoon with nail polish.
I was the mop that cleaned the floor at table tennis this week. I was somehow talked into playing a table tennis competition. Haven't played for 5 years since we moved to Castlemaine.
Were you competitive at one point?
No. Oh, previously. Casually competitive? Maybe. And a friend was like, oh, you should come along Tuesday night. Turns out it was a tournament. I lost 15 games back to back. About 2.5 hours. Great fun though.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds fun. I suppose if you can just enjoy, at some point you just enjoy losing, I guess, instead of, that's fine. Is it like for money or anything, or just for fun?
No, I put my $2 gold coin. It was very country town. It's like a little gold coin
Took
in
your
a
boots
tin.
off and came inside.
How are you?
Oh boy. Okay.
Oh boy. Tell me more about that.
A little bit more progression on things happening. I felt like I started last time we talked just saying, I don't feel like anything's getting done, but some engraving figured out on both of the scenarios that were problematic, and hopefully that turns out to be what we want when they actually arrive. Products coming here. Finalizing our big-ass annual sale, which will be the 20th. The week of the 20th. It's next week.
Ooh, coming up. Cool.
Yep. Kind of finishing. We've been preparing the making kind of more than we normally would of, printed things and dust boots and stacking up on pedestal parts. And so, yeah, we'll see. See if people want to shop in May instead of
cool.
the end of the year.
Is there a lot of Shopify prep involved in getting that ready? Or is it more just making stuff?
I haven't done this yet, but I'm going to make like a sale page. I've kind of done this before, and it was always pretty crappy. Like, it just never looked very good. So I'm actually going to put some effort into making a page that has, I don't know, I wish it was easier to do that kind of stuff. I think Shopify is pretty poor in my experience, the way I use it anyways. Like, I basically feel like I have to like hand code a page layout. I guess I could make like a template, I think. Like, when you design a page, you have like something more WYSIWYG than like drag and drop.
But it is drag and drop, right?
But don't you have to make like a separate template?
More WYSIWYG. Don't you just have a generic template? I think I know what you mean.
I don't know. I would like to, maybe sometime, I'd like to see how yours works, because I always feel like I'm doing it wrong. Like it's like way too hard. Like, I edit the product templates, that's easy. But then if I just want to make a page, just like this page is about training information, it's like I just have to like type the code, I feel like, half the time to get it to be what I want. So
interesting.
And not have like a template for each unique page is what it always feels like I have to do.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The template thing has always confused me a little bit.
Right.
Like, if you're not making a product or you're not working on the homepage, it's all those in-between pages that can be a bit funny,
exactly.
Huh? Yeah. And the way
that's the biggest sticking point to finishing up my migration from Squarespace. Is like, I have all these stupid little pages where it's like work examples or a hire form page, and it's like, I don't know, just clunky.
Yeah, like if I search for landing page templates in my theme, I get like 7 different landing pages for different different like templates that were spun up over the years for different things, and I can't tell which of them at a glance are in use. It's a bit tricky.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
Okay.
you
So
make a good point.
it makes me feel better.
I
Because
don't know
like they
about-
do have like a nice view, like when you go to, let's say, create a page, which is just any web page, you get like a text box that you can put a mild amount of stuff in, but then that's just like the top of the page usually, and you can't like you could have, I don't. It's not the greatest podcast discussion, but it just. Anyway, I'm gonna do that, and I think the other big thing I worked on, mostly over the weekend actually, was I took photos of all of our new tooling
Yeah, which look beautiful.
in this box of. That's some of it actually.
Is that the box you
Yeah,
took
like
photos
nice.
in?
I had this little white box thing that was $30 off Amazon, and it's got integrated LEDs in the top, and then kind of like an infinity wall in the back. It's like 12 by 12 by 12, so like 300 mil. And at first I was like, oh, this is gonna work great, and then you get into that point where it's like, well, actually, I'm seeing a lot of this weird color reflection in here. And I ended up figuring it out, but like, just spent a couple hours taking photos on my kitchen table with my hand, putting something in there, cleaning the fingerprints off, editing it in Lightroom.
Nice. They
That's
look
fun.
good. They look super pro.
Nice.
Crispy.
Yeah.
What do you
thanks.
what do you shoot on when you do those sorts of stills?
It's the Sony A7 III. It's
That's
my
right.
I guess best camera. And I have an older
Yeah.
Sony A6300. It's like from like 2017 or something. And I have like a Tamron lens that I basically never take off the A7 III. It just like use it for everything.
They look really good. I like
is-
how you've included the packaging in some of the shots.
Thanks. Yeah. Trying to give it some like more character than like, high quality photos. I think often you get like a photo of that series of a product and it's not the actual thing you're buying, which
Yes.
doesn't necessarily matter, but it is annoying when you like look at the tool and you're like, well, that says it's 4mm or it says it's 12mm, but really that looks like a 4mm tool. You like,
Yeah. I think
makes
that's
it look
my
crazy.
favorite ones. So the ones where you're wearing like cool colored gloves holding the tool.
right.
Like the colors are cool, but also just it does give you a sense of scale,
Right. It's kind
which
of
you
a
never
whim.
see with tooling.
Right. It's kind of a whim of like, maybe this will be cool. And I had purple gloves on, so I recolored them to be blue in Lightroom, which is
Right.
actually pretty easy to do. And I was wearing the gloves simply to keep my fingerprints off of the tools after I cleaned them. Because it's a pain in the butt to take product photos of things that are reflective. But yeah, and then I like the packaging, and and there's an example of like, I guess what it's going to look like, but then what kind of detail comes on it. And so, yeah. Comparisons of like an upcut to a downcut.
So have you got the stock ready to sell, or you're still waiting on your actual retail
Got
stock?
Got it all.
Wow.
It's
Amazing.
not an extensive amount. I mean, it's expensive to stock up tooling.
I'm sure.
And at this point, like, I hope people will buy it, but I don't. It's. I think I mentioned this before. It's like I don't know. I have no idea. When you start a new product line, it's like I've had some feedback. People might be interested, but you never really know. So, yeah, we got some. I mean, I just was chatting with somebody at Autodesk about how to make Fusion libraries by spreadsheet. It's not that hard, really. I'm trying to figure out a way I can streamline my like Airtable list of products to be something I can export, maybe with a script in between or something that turns it into the perfect. I think I could probably just do it straight from Airtable, honestly. I just need a
Turns it-
CSV file with the proper headers.
That turns
and
it into
then-
what? A tool library.
Fusion tool library. Yes.
Cool.
So all the details would come from my spreadsheet, and I can update them there. And then, as we add more tools, for example, I want to keep that up to date. We'll put the new version on our site. I think I found a good guide on how to do it. It's not too hard, so that's
Sweet.
exciting.
This is something I wanted to ask you actually. Is like where are you doing your product pricing? I had this moment the other day where I was hacking together some prices on some new accessories. I ended up doing it in Numi, like just on the fly,
I do that
and just
sometimes.
punching those numbers straight into the Shopify fields. Like I just bypassed Airtable altogether.
We started to do the knack wall. We made this really complicated BOM calculation base, like one table could bring in all the objects that you needed and quantities. And this is just back to that, like, it was too complicated. It was way too messy. The products are, you would be exactly like your kit parts, right? Like you got like one set that's this, it's a shelf, not it's an accessory piece. It's really hard to make one tool that solves all those things out of like Airtable, I think. And so I ended up, since then, all our CNC products that we make, I make like a spreadsheet and then I link it to like the Airtable product. So then I go and look, it's like usually called the COGS spreadsheet, and I just put in everything I want. And if that ever needs to be updated, I update it there. And then I maybe make a note in the Airtable product of like the pedestals, for example. I'll put like, the link in that little piece, and I'll say, go look here.
When you say spreadsheet, do you mean like Google Drive?
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. I'll start with like a Numi thing, potentially, if I'm just kind of like ballparking the pricing. And then as I get more serious, I'll make usually it's a spreadsheet of, I don't know. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's like, it feels more reliable. And I just end up backing away from those really complicated solutions once I make them in Airtable. And it's almost always like the next thing I want to add to and be able to use that tool for doesn't work. And then I'm like, well, shit, I don't know how to make this work for both of these situations. I don't know. It's messy, but
yeah, I think we've got the product pricing beast in Airtable, and like it's fantastic for everything that's in there. I can go in there and reference something that was, a product, large clip crate with hinged door, hoop, no holes, like one of hundreds of variants, and look at how that price was calculated. And I suppose the advantage over a spreadsheet is that all the feedstock materials like clear coat, screws, anchors, hardware, like all come from a master inventory, which hopefully the prices are kept up to date there.
Right.
And then they feed all that product pricing accurately. I think
it's
I
like
just
it fed into Shopify, like then.
And then we were using AirPower to feed, to sync all of that across to Shopify. But when Jay finished up, we turned AirPower off because it was a convoluted beast to run. And I looked at it with Jay. I was like, I'm just not going to do this. Like, if I need to change a price for a product, I'm just going to go into Shopify and manually change it. I'm not going to risk resyncing 300 variants, barely knowing what I'm doing with this app. Like Jay had documented it as well. Like it was well documented. And still, I was like, I can't see myself doing this. So
that's how you get price mistakes, right? With like big companies.
Yeah, exactly.
It is starting to get to this point for me, and we don't have that many products, but it's just, it's not all in my head anymore. I can't keep the weights of everything, and like, I never really tried to, but like, I think it just was easy to do when you had 6 products to go, oh no, that goes in this box, and the cost of each unit, like it just was there. And now it's like, that did always scare me about the AirPower plugin, was like how easily you could just like, I don't even know, way underprice something. I mess around with Airtable too much to that much, I guess. I kind of like the air gap between the two.
The air gap, yeah, totally.
It's my product, the air gap. We will come in and make an air gap for you.
Protects your data. Yeah.
It's probably not the answer you wanted, though.
No, I was just curious because like we've got this new product that I want to launch like yesterday, and I think I'll just generate some static pricing in, Numi and Rhino and like just plug it into Shopify. Hope for the best.
Yeah. I mean, the way I rationalize it, I think we're a lot the same. I don't have neither of us have a J anymore. Is if it's holding me up from launching products, which it absolutely was and would have with NAC wall stuff. And with any, like, I kind of started down that path with some of the CNC products, and I was just like, I know how to make a spreadsheet. It's going to take me less time. I'm going to be faster to get this product out. I'm comfortable with it. The costs don't change that often. So, like, when I'm purchasing something and I'm like, ooh, we keep track of the last purchase price in our Airtable inventory by just typing it in. When I go to purchase something, if I'm like, oh, those screws got way more expensive, then I'll go back and look at, like, how does that affect the costs? But, like, it's just doesn't change that much. So I just don't worry about it. I wish it was more live, but it lets me make products faster. I feel like I'm talking a lot. Listeners shaking their head vigorously, I'm sure.
Destroying their phones.
Smashed.
I had a fun anecdote for you. I keep forgetting to tell you about this, but when I was down the beach the other week, and it was a little Australiana native flora and fauna story for you. Not in my bed this time, but sitting there having dinner and just got up to like clear the table and start getting the kids ready for bed, and I pushed my chair back and the floor under me was just covered in blood. I was like, whoa. Hey guys, what's good? And then I see this like fat black leech like crawling away, trying to escape the scene of the crime. And I'd had this leech on my ankle for about 2 hours, I think, based on when I was last outside. It's just like my shoe was full of blood, my sock was drenched, and it's just been busy getting its fill.
So we're in like tall grass or something? Like I'm thinking a beach, like it's sunny. It's like sunny and you're walking into the water and
rainbows.
It's an ocean.
Nah, walking back through long swampy grass, I think that's probably what did it.
Or do your oceans have leeches in them?
Not in them, no.
I can
Giant
believe it.
ocean leech.
At first I thought you were going to talk about something I've seen on TikTok where it's like these creatures that live in the sand and like come out and like they seem to be only
June.
in Australia.
That's June.
Oh.
June 2.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I think they're poisonous. Oh, it was like blue crabs or something like that.
Don't know about those.
Your beaches sound less fun than ours too, or maybe more fun, depending on your preferences. You also did send me some wallabies the other day, which was delightful outside the shop.
Town wallabies outside the shop, yeah.
And I actually remembered what they were called after some time. I was like, that's a kangaroo. No,
that was a kangaroo. Yeah.
They look small. Huh.
Just chilling. Oh, they're young ones, just hanging out. The youth, they just hang out in the streets, causing trouble.
Girl Lil on his bike, right? Drop down a cog, give it a handful, come round and roundabout, doing about 700 miles an hour in a second, right?
Do you shake your fist at him? Don't mess with my compost.
So do you have access to the new GPT over there?
I do. Turned it on. I saw your note there, and I was like, click, and yeah, I changed my bookmark that I go to the. I always have to update because like the URL is what gets you there.
Yeah, they seem to have released it to They seem to have released it to everybody. Free users, paid users alike. So I believe.
What are we paying for?
All we're paying for now is faster rates and less limiting, as I understand it.
Which I still hit anyway. I still feel like I'm getting cheated.
Can't believe you hit the limits.
I did that. I hit it while trying to generate it was something really simple the other day. I think I was trying to make the summary for the show last week, and it wasn't that many. I feel like it gets really tight sometimes where they're like, oh, we have a lot of inquiries happening.
Did you
and
drop
then they crunch down the availability or something?
Podcast transcript in? Is that what you're trying to do?
No, I just put in like our normal show notes, and then like say, hey, can you help me with? I have Dawn help me make a basic. What have you done with it?
Not much, because I was like, oh, it's new, cool. I'll load that up, check it out, see if I've got access. I do. Oh, great. Yeah. And then I literally had this moment of just like, had it loaded on my phone on the app, and I was looking at it. I was like, I've got all of the world's knowledge at my fingertips, and I don't know what to ask. So I just closed the app, walked away.
It's like an ad for like a outdoor company, you know? It like sits down to newest AI. I don't know. I don't know what to do here. I'm gonna go to the beach.
Pretty much. So no, I haven't done anything with it. I don't really. Like, allegedly, it's supposed to be like this multimodal model which can interpret video and audio and stuff all concurrently in the same neural net, and like, but I haven't explored it. I don't really understand what its new functionality is. But
I
did
asked
have
it this morning.
Yeah, what did you ask it? Yeah. No, you go. No.
I asked it this morning, how are you better than 4? And I am based on GPT-4, but I have some specific enhancements and features. Increased accuracy, enhanced contextual understanding, expanded knowledge base, multimodal abilities, better fine-tuning. And on its 0.5, it's better fine-tuning. I'm optimized to assist with specific topics like CNC machining, business strategy, and more, making them more tailored to your needs. And I was like, did you tailor 0.5 to me specifically? And it's like, yes, I tailored 0.5 specifically to you. And I was like, it's a weird way to phrase that. Like, you're specifically optimized to talk about CNC machining? I was like, who needs this?
Isn't that just picking up on your custom input, whatever it's called?
But I just found it to be a little bit odd the way it like made it sound like it was for everybody that way.
I did have a good session. I don't know, it wasn't even with the new model, it was just with GPT-4 because it was an existing thread, but I'm designing some bunk beds at the moment for a client, and the Australian standards for bunk and loft beds are hectic. Like, they're really like, it's a big PDF, and it's just like all the different ways you can injure and maim small children through bed design and how not to. Do you have, what's your equivalent to these things? Do you have a national body that controls stuff like this?
Oh, God. I know there's like building codes, but it wouldn't really be under that. It'd be like something safety. I'm not sure. Furniture safety standards. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Anyway,
it's probably not as clear.
It's an overwhelming document. And so I just got GPT to summarize it. And then I worked with it. I told it what I'm doing, and I used it as a kind of little design workshop tool. It was like, cool. Even like dumping in screenshots of my concepts as I was going. I was like, hey, what do you reckon of this? And like, it did a decent job at helping me. I had to force it a few times of like, hey, no, I have read there's a specific ladder height off the first ladder rung has to be X off the floor. And I tested it on a few things and it failed. In a few instances, and I had to sort of remind it about certain bits. So at the end of the day, I had to read the standards myself, of course.
What is it even for?
But I did, as a summary tool, it was useful. Like, cool, just give me a table of all the critical dimensions and features I need to hit.
Right. No, I love that kind of stuff.
Dump that into Rhino, and then like as I was drawing, I was just referring to that table of like, oh yeah, that's right. I need 400 mil here and 300 mil there, and blah blah blah. So yeah, it was a useful little design assistant. But trust but verify. At the end of the day, before this job gets signed off, I'm going to sit down and read this 70-page document again, and just like, which is annoying.
This is why I left architecture. It's like I just, for me, it feels like laziness, I guess, but I'm just like, I don't want to do those kind of things, and that's a lot of building buildings is how does it fit into national building code, local building code, and you got to go read it. And you're basically the lawyer for the client to go, this applies. It's right. You're not going to get fined or they're going to approve it. And I just just never wanted. I think I've told you this one before. I did one Costco in my professional career when we worked. My wife and I worked for a firm that did all the Costcos.
Whoa.
You know Costco, maybe.
Yeah. No,
Do you know
Costco,
that company?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was a town in Canada. My team was the Canada team. The local building code had a number of bike stalls you had to have for a building, and based on like how much square footage and like how many people it was supposed to serve, the number we were supposed to have of bike stalls was 500. And I was just like, you know, this is new hire, first job, and I came to my like manager. I was like, I don't know how we're gonna do this. Like, they're not gonna make us put 500 bike stalls in, right? Like, who's riding their bike to Costco? Like, you can come home with a giant pack of toilet paper on your bike, and it didn't end up being that. But I always find that entertaining.
Yeah, like I've avoided doing bunk beds over the years purely because of this document. Like I've downloaded it in the past and then skimmed it and just been like, whoa, email the client, like email the lead back and be like, sorry.
Right.
I can't afford to go down this path just from aside from the liability risks.
Right.
I just don't have the time to invest in this right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you did it though.
But I've done it this time. Yeah. It was a good lead. It was an interesting client. And I get requests for bunk beds semi-regularly. I've recently built a loft bed for my daughter, and it was on my radar enough to go like, maybe I should put some time into this. Maybe this could be, we've started doing the kid a bed, and I was just like, yeah, I'll put some time in.
Is that on
See where this
do you
goes.
have that live now?
No. Launching products? What? No. What are you talking
Well,
about?
you can't figure out the cost. So how are you gonna
Exactly.
launch it? I mean, just go for it. Who cares?
I was going to
About the
say
cost.
it. Yeah.
What I probably would have done is like either just said no or been like, oh, okay, I'll make you a bed that goes on the floor, and I'll also tell you which sticks to buy to put it on, but I'm not going to do both. You can figure that out at your own bed.
My final little note in the AI space is that Loom, as all these products are doing, tacking on AI features. Loom, the video recording service that I use quite heavily, has just added it. And initially when I saw the notification, I was like, well, whatever. I'm already doing that because I was already basically doing the functionality that they've added by like copying and pasting the transcript and dumping it into a little custom GPT that summarized the transcript and gave me some sort of a summary of what I talked about in the video, which is pretty much the feature that they've added. Like it auto generates a title now, and it generates like it can generate like a standard operating procedure or just an email to a colleague or an email to a client based on what you've discussed. But it's actually quite useful. I'm finding it handy since they tack that on for an extra $4 a month or something, and just takes out streamlines that process from having recorded a video to sending it to someone, because it's generating a quick little note, and a lot of the time I'm not even having to modify that note. I think because it's using my language to generate it, it's pretty tight and close to what I would write anyway. So yeah, it's good. But I noticed in my library I'm up to like 820 Loom videos or something. Smashing
Can you
along.
now search them by transcript and such?
Good question. I don't know. What's the search
you're looking,
functionality like?
I saw this video. I didn't finish it. I think I was distracted by a slobbering small infant. But there's something to do with like Gemini, the Google version, where they were doing some demo. I think they're having their demo thing. I don't know what they call it. Demo days or Google I/O or something. And the example was like, what if Gemini could return a product for you? And it's like, it has access to your email, and it can do these things by looking up the product you want. And then I don't know if it actually went to the website or like it emailed the customer support and was like, hey, I need to return this. But like, I don't know that I want that exact thing, but Aaron's used this a few times where we're like out somewhere driving around and we're meeting a group or something, and through Google Maps you can do this just wild thing where like it'll call. It's just like that demo they did 5 years ago. I think it calls for you and gets you a reservation at a restaurant through Google Maps. Like you just say, I want to get a reservation at these times, and it just does it.
Really?
And I've never experienced it. She's always done it, and I'm always like, I want that. Like, I want that for so many things. Like, please just do this for me. I want a haircut.
Yeah, wow.
Give me a haircut.
I think the thing that I most want from Google products right now is for me to be able to trust it to read my emails and like take this email thread that's got like 20 emails in it over a number of months and just be like, hey, just catch me up on this and draft a response.
Right.
Just catch me up on this whole thread, give me the key things, and then, I'll modify that draft, sure. I don't want it to spit it out and send it automatically or anything like that, but I just need this summary of this whole thread, please. Like, that's a feature I would pay for right now.
Well, let me tell you, Spark can do that for you right now.
Really?
It does AI summary of threads.
Dang.
What I wanted, the feature that I really want is my like sticking point, my blank page problem with email is usually like getting an email drafted. And so, whether it's digesting a bunch of information or I don't even know what else, just whatever scenario it is, I want to open up every like help desk ticket email, whatever it is, and I want a pre-drafted response that I just edit.
Yeah.
Every time I open up an email,
it's pre-drafted.
I'm fine editing it. I just want it, like here's how we think you should reply. And like Google's kind of done weird stuff like that, but it's never been like, I never end up wanting to use it. It doesn't sound like me. But anyway, I paid for the Spark AI thing for a while. Their drafting capabilities was garbage when I tried it out for like $9 a month or something. But the AI summary worked pretty good. It would actually go through and summarize a long thread and drop that into the piece there. So
this is Spark Mail?
Yes, I think that's what it's called. Spark. I've really liked it. I did a whole, I like this thing a couple months back. I remember hearing, I keep using it. I keep liking it a lot. I just use the free version right now, but.
Hey, look. So to answer your question, yes, I can search all the transcripts in Loom.
Right.
Which is cool.
Right.
Just did a search for American Oak and it pulled up all the videos I've mentioned American Oak. And so it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
More and more.
Yeah. I tried Loom. I don't know how much. Tried it out when I was making my Fusion course because I wanted a better screen recorder than I had been using. The one that I used last time was like really janky to make the Intro to CNC class version, and it was bad. It would always crash on me and stuff. So it didn't give me enough capability. I feel like its real benefits is it like puts it on the cloud really quick, and like transcript was interesting, but like what I wanted was like really high quality desktop recording and to be able to like have the buttons and stuff that I type show on the screen. And so I ended up using, the heck is that called? CleanShot X.
Okay.
Which I had used before, just a screenshot recording software, and it was easy. So at some point, I don't think there's much to talk about at this point, but Al Watmo was like the product manager head of Fusion. He like helped start Fusion. He helped with, oh boy, I'm going to get it probably wrong, but HSM Works, I believe. He was one of the people that helped start that, or was early on with it, I think, and moved over into Fusion, and it's kind of like the glue that held everything together. It's a really good manager. He ended up taking a job as the CEO of toolpath.com. Have you heard anything about this?
Yeah, on with intolerance, I think I heard about this.
Right. Did he just, I don't know if he dropped that episode or not yet, but yeah, he's going to have him on. Dylan's going to have Al on. Al's a super nice guy, super good guy. And I was pretty, not distraught, but I was concerned that may see some, I don't know. He just was such a huge part of the team that, you know, connecting the developers with the customers and the whole thing that I'm associated with is like, what do you call it? The manufacturing customer advisory board was like his idea. He was talking to customers. He brought them into their meetings and stuff. So anyway, all told, I think Fusion will be fine, but toolpath.com is like an AI-ish generator for CAM and CAD. I don't know about CAD. And it uses Fusion in the background to like generate toolpaths and I think even like quoting. And I think at this point it's just really closed like betas.
Interesting.
But I'm curious to see where it goes.
Yeah, I heard about this on the bomb, actually, not with intolerance.
Right.
The Johns mentioned it briefly, I think. Yeah, cool. Interesting to see where that goes, eh?
Yeah, I'm excited to hear what Dylan gets into with Al to see if
I put the link
there's more
to that
to it.
episode with Dylan chatting to Al in the show.
Oh, it's already out. Jeez. Okay.
I haven't listened to it yet, but I will check it out.
That's my Saturdays.
Nice.
Anyway.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, look, I don't have that close connection that you do with the Fusion peeps. But, you know, I was thinking driving in this morning, like, I have been using Fusion for a long time now. Must be nine years or something, almost. Is that possible? Yeah. And like just having sort of seen features like what we chatted about last week with the nesting extension, like it's not that long ago where we were waiting for nesting to come. Like,
right.
It's like,
right.
come on. And then it finally arrived and it's like,
The people in, we were talking about, we had some nice, Fusion gave us some stuff for our class members
cool.
to give out, shirts and stuff. And they're like, how did you get this stuff to some of the students? And I was like, well, I'm on this like advisory board. And they're like, how did you get associated with that? And I was like, honestly, I think I just complained a lot.
yeah.
You know, like I made comments and like said, oh, I think I would love to see this improved and on like the forum and stuff. And to give them credit, like, you know, I bitched about them all, about the state of nesting. Like and this is totally to like Al's credit, I think, is they really listen. That's like why the customer advisory board exists. And their insider program is because they do care and they do make the product better because people complain. And a lot of companies just go, I don't know, sorry, I can't fix that. And they just do the little like support, sweep you under the rug thing. But like the freaking developers that work on the stuff are in their forum, like responding to you. And they do that intentionally so that they have direct user feedback.
Smart. Very smart.
Yeah. Yep.
So I had a little breakthrough this week. I've known this in the past, but like, and we've chatted about like the attrition of different like organizational list systems and like leaving a trail of notes and different apps behind us over the years. And I think I just have to, I think I just have to accept that I will always do this and not get too hung up on the fact that I'm never going to have the one app that will always serve me, and whether it's a notepad, physical notepad, or one particular app. For many years, I thought that was going to be Workflowy, but now I don't use Workflowy. But I've become self-aware. I think I've got like maybe a 2 to 3 month cycle where I'm like enthused about my current system. Yep. And over the last 3 months, that's been the Full Focus Journal, which is a paper-based page-a-day journal. And then I noticed the last few weeks, my systems, more than a few weeks, but last month maybe, my system's really slipping and I was starting to miss tasks and feel overwhelmed and was doing a crap job at time blocking. And so the other night I just sat down and in about half an hour I built a version of Full Focus system in Notion, just as a Notion template, and started using that the next day. And I think, it's basically exactly the same thing as what was on the page, but the novelty of having changed my system meant that the next day I was very attentive and I kept it up to date and I did all the things and I just felt so much more productive just because of that bloody novelty. That little dopamine hit of oh, new, oh, shiny, oh, I can do this, oh, I'll do that and that.
Right. I used to have all these ideas for different apps and things that I thought would work well for me because I never really can stick to them or they stop working. Like I used to use, I don't even know, Todoist, then I used some other one, and now I've used Things, and I don't really use Things anymore. I just use my to-do day plan things, and that's about the only thing that sticks, but that's not a larger system. There's no larger plan, like for future events. I still throw things into Things, but it's just an absolute disaster. And the thing that I think about still today that I wish existed in some of these apps is a randomizer. and a randomizer slash randomizing the nagging it can do. Because I have different apps that can repeatedly nag me to do something, like keep reminding. But when it becomes the same thing all the time, it doesn't work. I just keep ignoring it more and more.
Yeah, same.
I want it to basically nag me in like an AI. I want it to just keep choosing new ways to do it at different times.
Different methods.
I think this could work, but I probably would find a new way to just ignore it. Yeah.
It's clever. I don't know. I would like something like that too. Because I get a iOS notification every morning when I roll into work. As I approach the front gate, this reminder goes off, and I don't even see it anymore. If I think about it now, I think it's set up it's supposed to remind me to check my voice memos and put them into my daily notes to process. And I haven't done that for 6 months, but I still get this bloody reminder every time I show up at work.
Right.
Invisible. Yep. Whereas if Siri just injected herself into my ears one night and just Jam, check your voice memos. I'd be like, oh, hello, okay.
Or she's
I'll do that now.
You have 30 seconds till I delete your voice memos.
Yes.
Threats. Just little threats
of deleting files. Genius.
I've thought about this so much because I'm just I know all the ways that I fail myself and my best plans. And I have there's this app called Alarms, I believe. It's green. I don't know. I'll find it, but I have it set up for a couple things, and it almost has all the things I want, but it's not to-do related. It's typically something I needed. It'd be remembering to take your medicine, and where your normal reminders app on iOS fails is it'll remind me once, and then it just goes into the background, and I don't think about it again. Where this Alarms app works is it can keep reminding me every minute or every 3 minutes or every 5, and you can make it change its ratio. But I need it to be random. I just need it to be a different thing. It says a different time. And so then I'm oh, okay. I didn't think about organizing that in a long time. Keeping it spicy with my to-do list.
Spicy. Yeah. Keeping it spicy. There's a product idea for someone.
I feel there's the Rule 34, right? It's somebody made this up a long time ago. It's you can always be surprised if you don't think about it, but there's always a thing that somebody's into for their sexual preferences that you hadn't thought about, but it exists. And if you can think of it, somebody has a thing for it. That's Rule 34, basically.
Okay.
And I think there's also that version with to-do list apps. Not that they got a sexual preference. It's there's a unique way that somebody has made a to-do list app that's well, I don't need to remember bananas. It's there's something always some weird version of something. That's good because we need these. We got to keep. Siri's like, I've moved you over to the newest, and you just have to start using that app now. Like you don't get to pay.
Yeah, give the bots more agency to threaten us. That'll solve all our problems.
Did you get anywhere? Yeah, I don't know if you want to hit this or not, but did you make any videos? I didn't see any about your pricing sensitivity.
No, you didn't see
Non-customers.
it. I caused a shitstorm.
Oh shit! Ooh.
Yeah, I've caused some trouble to the extent that my anxiety hasn't even let me go back onto the post to re-engage.
Oh.
I posted of an evening, and then I saw the comments taking off pretty fast. And Laura tells me that like 99% of the comments are like super supportive, like beautiful, like, oh, we love your products, absolutely worth it, blah, blah, blah. Like literally 99% of them are like that. But I've just been like, I don't feel like engaging with that right now.
Hey,
I
I know what
appreciate
you mean.
all that. But
I don't know how influencers deal with this crap, you know?
I don't know either.
And just
And I
keep
can-
churning into it.
I can see certain users in the notifications are like coming into bat for us and batting pretty hard, which is amazing. But it's like I'm super conflict adverse. I probably shouldn't have posted the damn thing, and it's nice to get all that support in comments. But yeah, given that I don't want to now engage with it, I probably shouldn't have put it online.
All right. Oh, I see.
But yeah,
I see
there you go.
it now. I'm not going to try and listen to it at the moment.
I labored over the
That's-
edit because
I bet.
and then I ended up just cutting it super short and just posting a bit of the edit. I've got like minutes more of the same sort of content going into more detail and stuff, but I don't know that I'll do anything else with it. We'll see.
I don't know if I get this comment, but I'm going to read it. Timbervice. That shelf is only 2,000 pesos Australianos. No time for arachnid fornication at that price. Rule
If you watch the
34?
video, it'll make sense. Yeah. Rule 34. Yes. That's it.
Love your custom unit. Beautiful product and outstanding service. Sally Rogers.
Thank you, Sally.
You know, I know what you mean. It's hard. Like, we've had that kind of stuff with just different things over time. And yeah, I suppose I'm also conflict averse and in some of this stuff. And I just like don't want to look at it at some point, you know, want to walk away and just keep making stuff, not fighting people on the internet that don't need to be fought, you know, in the end. This is all right. I'm going to give you some good ones. Can't quite afford your new stuff right now, but I'm so lucky to have bought some secondhand, so it lives on. Love the values that you demonstrate and prioritize. It's where I want to put my money. Cost. It's unwise to spend too much, sure, but it's even more unwise to spend too little, especially on stuff that won't last, isn't well designed, and isn't ethically or sustainably made.
Nice.
They took that off your website, I think. They're finding some bullets. That's super nice. Worth every cent. 2 hands raised. You're still getting the bump. I mean, you started to slow down a little bit.
Slowing down a bit, but yeah, it's definitely slowed down, but still cracking along overall.
All right.
Almost up to 800,000 accounts reached in the last 30 days. But it's just bonkers. Like before this bump, it was like 14,000 a month, and now it's 800,000. Like that's just
All right.
stupid.
I'm at 59,000, but it does not feel like that. Do you know Gary Vaynerchuk?
No,
Gary V. He's like one of those
V.
like
Yeah,
internet
yeah.
gurus.
didn't know he had a
was
real
giving
name.
Sorry, just V. He was giving somebody advice on some TikTok I scrolled through, and it was like some person was like, yeah, you know, I'm still getting like 20 or 50 views a post, and he's like, how long has that been going on? She's like, oh, I don't know, a year or two, like as long as I've been doing this. And he's like, well, I mean, at first I thought he was just going to tell her to quit, quit doing this. Like, what are you doing? But he was way more supportive than that. It was like, you gotta really massively change up what you're doing. And it did strike me a little close to home of like, every once in a while I get a good post, it'll go well. But like often I do get in the few hundreds of views on most reels and TikToks.
Oh, wow.
And it's like,
yeah.
what the hell am I doing? Like, So I've been thinking about that. Like, what do I massively change? Is it? Yeah, I don't know. It's not hitting the same as it did years ago, obviously.
Yeah. More Apple hardware reviews, Justin. You know where.
That's right. That's all I can do.
Yeah. Well, we better wrap this up, hey?
Video has 124 views. 13 weeks ago.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, we should. We're gonna run out of space here.
Run out of gigapascals. Yeah. Cool bananas. Keep it spicy, assistants.
Keep it spicy. Keep it spicy. Bye.
Goodbye.